Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people?
Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country.
They have a very hard time. I don't come from privilege. I come from a working class, blue collar family that got out of Southern.
And my great-great-grandfather, her oldest son, was born in 1857. So this has been the Gates mystery.
Hey, Gossip fam, buckle up, because today's episode of The View was an absolute roller coaster of drama, tears, and jaw-dropping revelations. RFK Jr. got absolutely roasted during his Senate hearing, Elizabeth Warren came for Trump hard, and Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. dropped some family secrets that will leave you speechless. Oh, and Joy Behar's emotional family history had everyone in tears. This episode had it all: controversy, conspiracy theories, and even a little bit of cat drama. Yes, you heard that right. I've got all the tea, so grab your popcorn and let's dive into the juicy details.
Him squarely in the ass.
You go for it, girl.
Take a look.
Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people?
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted.
Did you say that it targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study.
First up, let's talk about RFK Jr. because, oh my God, this man is a walking controversy. During his Senate hearing, he was asked about his past comments claiming COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spares Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. And guess what? He couldn't even defend himself properly. He just said, I probably did say that. Like, what? I mean, how is this guy even being considered for a role in healthcare? Sunny Hostin called him out for spreading dangerous misinformation, especially his claims that vaccines should be different for black and white people. There's no science to back that up, and it's just fueling fear and division. And let's not forget, RFK Jr. is making bank off his anti-vaccine rhetoric. He's profiting from books, podcasts, and even lawsuits against vaccine companies. Sarah Haynes pointed out that he's made over $2.5 million from this nonsense. Like, is this really who we want in charge of our healthcare system? I don't think so. But wait, it gets worse. RFK Jr. couldn't even answer basic questions about Medicaid and Medicare. He confused the two programs and claimed Medicaid has high premiums and deductibles, which is completely false. Sunny Hostin was like, this man doesn't even know what he's talking about. And then there's the whole conspiracy theory angle. RFK Jr. has been accused of promoting wild ideas, like vaccines being linked to autism, which has been debunked a million times, and COVID-19 being a bioweapon. His own cousin, Caroline Kennedy, called him a predator who's profiting off fear and misinformation. Ouch! This hearing was a disaster from start to finish, and it's clear that RFK Jr. is way out of his depth. But the real question is, why is Trump even nominating him? Is this just another way to create chaos and distract from the real issues? Let's talk about that next.
Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Next up, Senator Elizabeth Warren joined the table, and she did not hold back. She called RFK Jr. dangerously unfit for the role and accused him of putting millions of lives at risk just to line his own pockets. She even said he could kill off access to vaccines while making millions in the process. But wait, it gets better. Warren also came for Trump, saying his administration is all about creating chaos to distract from his real goal: more tax cuts for billionaires. She called out the hypocrisy of cutting programs like Meals on Wheels and Head Start while giving handouts to the rich. And don't even get me started on Tulsi Gabbard. Warren straight up said Gabbard is in Vladimir Putin's pocket and a threat to national security. Like, wow, the drama never ends. Warren also talked about how Trump's nominees are completely unqualified for their roles. She pointed out that RFK Jr. has no medical background and couldn't even answer basic questions about healthcare. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard has been accused of amplifying Russian propaganda and being an apologist for dictators like Bashar al-Assad. Warren's message was clear. This administration is a mess and it's putting our country at risk. She called on Republicans to stand up and say no to these dangerous nominees. But let's be real. Do we really think that's going to happen? This segment was a masterclass in dragging, and Warren didn't hold back. But the real question is, will her words make a difference, or is this just another day in the chaotic world of Trump's America? Let's move on to something a little more heartfelt. Joy Behar's emotional family history.
I felt so sorry for your mother.
Yeah. They had a very hard time. I don't come from privilege. I come from a working class, blue collar family that got out of southern Italy because they were treated badly.
Right.
By the North mostly.
Yes.
And if they were not treated so badly and if there were jobs, they would not even have come here, which is the exact immigrant experience people are having right now and being sent back.
Now, let's switch gears to something a little more heartfelt but still juicy. Joy Behar opened up about her family history on Finding Your Roots, and let me tell you, it was emotional. Her grandfather traveled back and forth between Italy and the U.S., and her mother had a really tough life working as a sewing machine operator at just 15 years old. But the real shocker came when Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. revealed that Joy's great-great-great-grandfather died in an earthquake in Italy. If he hadn't survived, Joy wouldn't even be here today. Can you imagine? It's wild how much our ancestors' lives shape our own. Joy also talked about how her family came to America to escape poverty and discrimination in Italy. Her grandfather worked tirelessly to provide for his family, and her mother had to grow up fast, working long hours in a factory. It's a story of resilience and determination, and it's clear that Joy's family history has had a huge impact on who she is today. But the real tea came when Dr. Gates revealed that Joy's grandfather almost didn't come back to America. He was visiting his brother in Brooklyn when he decided to stay, leaving his wife and children behind in Italy. Joy's grandmother sent him a letter threatening to kill herself and the kids if he didn't come back. Can you imagine the drama? This segment was a reminder of how powerful family history can be, and it's clear that Joy's story resonated with everyone at the table. But the real bombshells came when Dr. Gates talked about his own family history. Let's get into that next.
And my great-great-grandfather, her oldest son, was born in 1857. So this has been the Gates mystery since 1857. And C.C. Moore, whom I've talked about on The View before, the most brilliant genetic genealogist in the world, spent 4 years looking at all of my distant cousins on the DNA web.
Speaking of family secrets, Dr. Gates dropped some major bombshells about his own family. His great-great-grandmother was a slave, and her children were fathered by a white man whose identity remained a mystery for over 150 years. But thanks to DNA testing, they finally figured it out, but he wouldn't reveal the name. Like, come on, Dr. Gates, we need the tea. He did say it was an emotional moment when he shared the news with his family, and honestly, I would have been crying too. Family history is so powerful, and it's crazy how much it can affect us today. Dr. Gates also talked about how his family has lived in the same area for over 200 years, and how they recently held a reunion with over 150 descendants of his great-great-grandmother. Can you imagine the stories they must have shared? This segment was a reminder of how much our past shapes our present, and it's clear that Dr. Gates' work is more important than ever. But the real question is, what does this mean for the rest of us? How much do we really know about our own family history? This episode of The View was packed with drama, emotion, and jaw-dropping revelations. From RFK Jr.'s meltdown to Elizabeth Warren's epic drags to Joy Behar's emotional family history, it was a roller coaster from start to finish. But the real takeaway is this: words matter, history matters, and we all have a story to tell. Okay, gossip fam, let's recap. RFK Jr. is a walking disaster, Elizabeth Warren is out here dragging everyone, and Dr. Gates just solved a 150-year-old family mystery. What a roller coaster of an episode. What do you think about RFK Jr.'s hearing? Should he be in charge of healthcare? And are you as shocked as I am about Dr. Gates' family secrets? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of the juicy gossip. Until next time, stay curious, stay shady, and I'll see you in the next video.